I'm Joshua Cavanis.
And I'm Debra Cavanis.
We are volunteers at Henderson Metro Church, and this is our story. I wasn't always the husband and the man of God that I should have been. And we weren't always the couple that you see before you today. About a year and a half ago, I began a new job that took me away from my home several weeks, even months at a time without seeing my family. Preluding this job, I worked out on the road before that too. I pushed the Lord away so far, and I started living for myself, and I fell into a period of depression and anxiety from being away from my family. I started living for myself, not living for the Lord. At one point in time, I don't even think that I felt the Lord's presence in my life anymore. During this time when I was working in North Dakota, I let a conversation go way too far, and I had an affair on my wife. And I broke my best friend's heart. I remember my wife found out about it the night before Thanksgiving. So as you can see, there wasn't much to be thankful for in the Cavanis household that year. And I had to return to work. So I had to go all the way back to North Dakota. For how long, I didn't know. And I remember conversating with my wife on the way back up there, this 18-hour drive. And at one point in time, I remember telling her that I felt hollow, felt empty inside, almost as if I didn't even have a soul anymore. I didn't even feel the Lord's presence anymore. When I finally got back to North Dakota, I was in the darkest place I'd ever been in my life. I didn't know if I had the strength to fix our marriage, because I didn't even feel the Lord beside me. I contemplated ending it all, because I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I couldn't imagine my life without my best friend. But in the midst of my breaking point, I fell to my knees. And I must have spent 2 hours on my knees just begging God to forgive me. Asking Him, please let me feel your presence. Forgive me for what I've done and save my marriage. And then the most amazing thing happened. After a couple of days, my wife and I discussing things and talking about things, she told me that God told her to forgive me.
So I was in a place where I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I wanted to stay and fight for my family or if I just needed to let him walk away. So I just kept, my friends were telling me how stupid I would be to stay because once a cheater, always a cheater, and it just wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was just praying, God, please send me a sign. I don't know what to do. And I was cleaning out my garage, getting ready for a garage sale, setting things up, and a book fell. And it was from Joyce Meyer about forgiveness. Bright red letters across the front of the book. So I thought, okay. And then we were doing our devotional. That was one of the first stories that came across, was how he was telling a woman that was complaining about her husband constantly. And he said every time, forgive him every time. So that's why, other than the fact that I love him, I had to forgive him.
After I cried out to my father, which was something I hadn't done in quite some time, he answered my call. Debra and I began to discuss things, talk things over. And we began to realize that not only that I had strayed, we'd let God get out of our house. So we began to do a Bible study together for married couples, a 30-day joint venture for the both of us that would not only test us, but test our relationship with God, and it would end up bringing us back to Him. And we found out that what the devil meant to destroy us, God was fixing to make to strengthen us and put us back together for His glory so that He could use us. He began to move in our house and move in our lives. Not only did He put my marriage back together, and we're now stronger than we ever were before. We love each other more than we ever did before. We pray together. We read our Bible together. We do things together we didn't do before. We never miss a Sunday service. We never miss a Wednesday service. But now we're volunteers in our church and taking on duties for the Lord. Within the past 2 months, 2 of my children have not only come to know the Lord, but one of them has gotten baptized. I myself have answered a call from the Lord upon my life to pursue ministry, something that I never would have pursued myself had this mistake probably never happened, had I never reached back out. But God knew where I was the whole time. He used that to put us back together, to put us where we needed to be. And I'm now a changed man. And I know I've got so much more to offer. And the road is just lying ahead of me. And where I didn't talk to the Lord anymore, or trust Him anymore, or didn't have a relationship with Him anymore, where I felt hollow and empty inside, I feel full of joy and life and love. Because I know that if He can do that for me, if He can put my marriage back together and save my children and walk through my house and anoint something that was so ugly and evil and take it and make it beautiful, then He can do the same thing for you. I'm Josh Cavanis.
I'm Debra Cavanis.
And this is our story.